recently bought a MacBook Neo. The MacBook Neo is Apple's new, cheaper MacBook. It's quite good value. Everyone seems to think it's a reasonably priced, and it's giving cheaper Windows devices a real run for their money because, like all MacBooks, it's well made. So it's a nice device. It had one glaring issue as far as I was concerned, and that is it doesn't have a backlit keyboard. Now, my main use for this device was to try and sit down in the evenings, probably in the living room where the lights are dim because my wife might be watching television, and without a backlit keyboard, I struggled a little bit to type on it sometimes.
You can see the screen's there, but the keyboard's very difficult to see, and even if you angle the screen right over to try and illuminate the keyboard, it doesn't really do much of that.
Okay, first world problem, but I wanted to be able to see the keys when I'm using it, and that became a real issue for me. The Neo was really good value. So for the base model, $900 Australian dollars, and the one I had was the $1,100 one because that had 512 gigabytes of storage inside it, and it also had the Touch ID on the keyboard, which just made it nicer for when you're starting it. But as I say, without that backlit keyboard, it was a non-starter for me, so I had to return it. So what do I do? And what I decided to do was buy this device. So this is the MacBook Air. Now what I've gone here is, this is the new M5 MacBook Air with the M5 chip inside it. When we look at the actual dimensions of the MacBook Air, same as last year's M4, which means it weighs 1.23 kilograms or 1.24, depending on which website you look at. It is 30.41 centimeters, that's nearly 12 inches wide across the device. And then it has a depth, so from front to back, of 21.5 centimeters, which is about 8.5 inches. And thickness wise, it's 1.13 centimeters. So under half an inch thick. In use, quite lightweight, quite easy to use, and very well constructed with that aluminium unibody design. Just flip it over. You can see here, it's got the 4 footrests, or whatever you want to call them, there. So simple design, and hasn't changed much from the previous MacBook Airs, or at least the last few generations. And the beauty is, it does have a backlit keyboard. The screen is slightly bigger. The screen on this is 13.6 inches. It's still a liquid retina display, but I think it's a higher quality liquid retina display than the one in the Neo. It's certainly a beautiful, clear screen. It's not OLED, and you can get Windows laptops at a similar price with an OLED screen, but as LCD screens go, this is a very nice LCD screen. I've had no issues with this screen whatsoever. Fantastic screen. The keyboard is nice, typical Mac keyboard. Again, it has Touch ID, just like the Neo did and the MacBook Pros. Looking around the device, we have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the left-hand side. There's a USB-C. Just above that is the MagSafe charging port. And on the other side here, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. I do wish they'd put one of the USB-C ports on the other side, so you have a bit of flexibility when you're decided to plug things into it, but that's the way it goes. It has 4 speakers, and it's good quality sound, particularly for the size of the device. It has a 3 microphone array for when you're wanting to record audio. Beautiful aluminium unibody construction. This is the midnight coloured one, which is the sort of dark bluish black colour. It is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, as you can probably see on here. The base model, $1,800, and that comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. Now I've upgraded mine, so mine's got 1 terabyte of storage. Still got the base 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can specify this with up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, and you can go up to 4 terabytes of storage if you need it. I don't need it. As I said, I'm mainly using it for light use, although I will do the occasional bit of video editing if I'm away on holiday or away for work with a weekend. It might be nice to be able to do a bit of video editing. But
My main video editing is reserved for my MacBook Pro, which is a lot more powerful than this device. It also has a 16-core neural engine, the new M5 processor inside this, so it should be good for Apple Intelligence when it eventually catches up. Performance, I'm not doing detailed, in-depth performance reviews on this. It's just a quick look, my opinion of what it's like to use as a device. Geekbench scores for the device are that with the new M5 chip in it, it has a single core score of 4,190 and a multi-core score of 17,073. Just for comparison, the MacBook Air, the original model, the M1 model from 2020, so 5-6 years ago, that had a single core score of 2,347 and a multi-core score of 8,344. So this new M5 one is round about 80 to 100% faster, almost twice as fast as the original M1 chip inside the MacBook Air. If we also compare it to last year's MacBook Air, the M4 chip inside that one, that scored 3,832 single core and it scored 15,034 multi-core. So this new M5 MacBook Air is around about 10 to 12% faster, depending on what you're doing. One of the other differences, though, the memory bandwidth in this, the memory chips being used, are roughly 25% faster than last year's M4 MacBook Air. So all in all, it should perform well. And the reviews I've read online of people who've done the in-depth performance reviews certainly say it's a very capable device. It should have no problem when I'm doing a bit of Final Cut Pro editing, as long as it's not a massive file. And then, of course, I'm going to use my MacBook Pro for that. Having said all of the above, I didn't really buy it for that purpose anyway. I bought it for general use, for browsing the internet, doing all that. But I needed that backlit keyboard, hence the jump from the Neo to this. The display inside it, as I said, is a very nice display. It's that liquid retina. It's 13.6 inches across, and it has a resolution of 2,560 by 1,664. Up to 500 nits of brightness, and it supports wide color P3 True Tone technology for the screen. If that means anything to you, great. I think it just means it's a good screen and it's bright and full colored. The camera in the notch at the top, so in the Neo, they'd managed to put the camera actually up in the bar here, so you didn't have this notch. Let me get back to the screen so you can see the notch the way it stands out here. But it has a 12 megapixel center stage camera in here. The center stage camera means that if you're doing FaceTime or something like that and you get up and move around, the camera tries to keep you focused in the center of the stage, as it were. Connectivity wise, it has Apple's latest N1 wireless chip inside it. That provides it with Wi-Fi 7, whereas the Neo only had Wi-Fi 6E. It also gives it full Bluetooth 6 support. It has the two Thunderbolt ports I mentioned before, and it has MagSafe charging and 3.5mm headphone jack. Battery-wise, it's a larger battery than Neo, but then it's got a larger screen as well. But you should get up to 18 hours of battery life. So that's what Apple quotes, and they're usually quite conservative with their quotes. It comes with, well, my one came with, a 35-watt dual charger. So it has two outlet ports on it, two USB-C outlet ports. One of them I use the MagSafe charge, and the other one you could power maybe an iPhone or an iPad or something else like that. The operating system in this one, because it's the latest MacBook Air, it comes with the latest Apple operating system, which is Tahoe, macOS Tahoe. It should be capable of handling Apple Intelligence when Apple Intelligence eventually comes to us in its full realized form, once it's got that Gemini backing behind it. So all in all, it is a very nice laptop. I enjoy using it. It's lightweight compared to my MacBook Pro, much lighter weight, slimmer, so lighter and easier to carry around and use. And the size-wise, it's just perfect for what I want, which is, as I said, sitting in the lounge with it on my lap and using it in the evening or at other times of day. So nice device, very capable device. Very pleased with this Apple. Thank you.